It's 2 a.m. Your eyes are burning, the textbook is a blur, and you're mainlining coffee like it's life support. The big exam is in 6 hours. You've been cramming for 10 straight, highlighting, rereading, highlighting again, and somehow you feel confident as you finally stumble into the test. And then, blank. The concepts you just reviewed evaporate. Facts are fuzzy, just out of reach. You survived the all-nighter. The knowledge didn't. This isn't a failure of effort or intelligence. It's a failure of strategy. Your brain actually hates cramming. And the shocking secret to remembering almost anything isn't to study harder. It's to strategically forget. Today on Brainful Bites, we're cracking the spacing effect, the most reliable learning principle psychology has ever produced. You'll see why letting yourself forget a little supercharges your memory. And you'll leave with a set-it-and-forget-it system to lock in exam facts and critical workplace skills for the long haul. Let's get to it. Cramming, aka massed practice, feels productive, but it builds knowledge on a foundation of sand. The alternative, the spacing effect, is simple. Distribute your study or practice over time with growing gaps, and your long-term memory skyrockets. This isn't a trendy hack. In 1885, Hermann Ebbinghaus memorized thousands of nonsense syllables like WID and ZOF. He mapped the infamous forgetting curve, fast drop-off after learning, and he found the antidote. Reviews at spaced intervals flatten that curve. Each well-timed review makes the memory more durable. Fast forward a century. A 2006 meta-analysis by Cepeda and colleagues pooled hundreds of studies and found a robust, repeatable advantage for spaced practice over cramming on long-term retention. Languages, names, concepts, procedures, it generalizes. If learning had a golden rule, spacing would be it. Why does spacing work? 3 big reasons. Study phase retrieval. After a gap, you're forced to pull the information from long-term memory. That effortful recall is like a workout for neurons. The struggle signals, keep this. Cramming is rereading the answer key. Spacing is taking mini-tests. Deficient processing. Back-to-back exposures feel familiar, so your brain coasts. You process shallowly. Time gaps make your brain re-encode, driving deeper learning. Encoding variability. Each review happens in a slightly different context, different examples, moods, times, locations.
Those variations create multiple retrieval cues, like building extra roads to the same destination. Now the twist. Spacing feels harder. That uncomfortable tug, I know this, what was it, feels like failure. Robert Bjork calls this a desirable difficulty. The productive struggle that improves retention. Cramming creates an illusion of competence because it feels smooth right now. Studies by Cornell and Bjork show learners routinely underrate spaced practice, even when it crushes cramming on delayed tests. Translation: trust the data, not the feeling. So, what's the perfect spacing interval? There isn't a single magic number. A 2008 study by Cepeda and colleagues found that the best gap depends on your target retention interval. The longer you need to remember, the longer your spaces should be. If you're testing in a week, a day or two between sessions can work. For 6 months, think in weeks, not days. And crucially, if gaps are so long that you keep failing to recall, you're not strengthening the memory. Aim for recall that's effortful, but mostly successful. One more nuance. Spacing is optimized for long-term memory. If your goal is strictly same-day recall, say an afternoon presentation, brief massed practice can be fine. But if you care about remembering beyond tomorrow, spacing wins. All right, science decoded. Let's build your set-it-and-forget-it system you can start today. Here is your Brainful Bites spacing toolkit. Build a simple personal spacing schedule. Start with a default, then personalize. Default ladder, review at roughly 1 day, 3 days, 1 week, 3 weeks, and 2 to 3 months after initial learning. Then extend to every 3 to 6 months if you need to keep it alive. Tune the gaps. If a review is trivial, lengthen the next gap. If you blank, shorten the next gap. Your target is effortful but mostly successful recall. Time horizon fit. Match gap to goal. Need it for a week? Use 1 to 2 day gaps. Need it for a month? Use 3 to 7 day gaps. Need it for 6+ months? Use 2 to 3 week gaps, then monthly. Mini examples. Language learner. New words on Monday, quick review Tuesday, again Friday, then the following Friday, then monthly. Med student. Cranial nerves Sunday, review Monday, Thursday, the next Thursday, then monthly until boards. Make every review retrieval-based. No passive rereading. Start by trying to recall from memory. Then check.
How to do it fast. Flashcards. Look at the prompt, say the answer, flip to verify. Problem solving. Rework one representative problem from a blank sheet before scanning notes. Explain it. Teach the concept out loud, then compare to the source. Keep it lean. After retrieval, restudy only what you missed or muddled. This concentrates effort where it matters. Success threshold. If you can correctly retrieve most items, think around 2 out of 3 or better, you're in that desirable difficulty zone. If you're below that, tighten the next gap or add a brief restudy before trying again. Turn your knowledge into spaced decks. Externalize the system so you can set it and forget it. Tools. Use spaced repetition apps like Anki or Quizlet. They schedule cards for you based on how well you remember them. What to deckify? Work, client facts, SOP steps, critical keyboard shortcuts, compliance rules, command line flags. School, definitions, formulas, diagrams with labeled parts, historical dates, theorem conditions. Life, names and faces, foreign phrases, emergency procedures, cooking temps. Daily cadence. 10 minutes a day maintains an enormous knowledge base over time. It's lighter than you think. Pro tip, make atomic cards. Just one fact or concept per card. If a card is consistently hard, split it. Space your skills, not just facts. Spacing supercharges procedural learning too. Break marathons into sprints. Swap 1 3-hour grind for 3 1-hour sessions across a week. Your brain gets multiple sleeps and context shifts. Both help. Reset from blank. For coding, rebuild a function from a blank file Monday, Wednesday, Friday. For presentations, rehearse the opening cold on 3 separate days. For instruments, play the piece from the top rather than looping a bar 100 times in a row. Mix contexts, change order, location, or examples each session. You're building flexible skills, not memorizing one narrow path. Layer interleaving. Rotate related subskills within a spaced session, e.g., alternate graph problems, word problems, and proofs to boost discrimination and transfer. Protect your spacing habit. Systems beat willpower. Make spacing automatic. Calendar holds. Block a recurring 10 to 15-minute review slot, mornings for flashcards, afternoons for a quick skills rep. Trigger cues. Keep a weekly review folder or tag. Everything you want to keep alive goes there, and you clear it during your review slot. 2-click rule. Set your tool so it takes 2 clicks to start a review. Remove friction. Keep decks pinned, notes pre-linked, and a checklist of today's reps. Rescue plan. Missed a review? Don't restart everything. Do a quick retrieval attempt, skim only the misses, then shorten the next interval slightly. Momentum over perfection. Common pitfalls and quick fixes. Pitfall. Reviews are too easy. Fix. Stretch the next gap or increase retrieval demands. Harder questions. Generate examples. Pitfall. constant failure to recall, shorten the gap, add a tiny restudy, or break big concepts into smaller cards. Pitfall: I don't have time. Fix: trade one scrolling break for a 7-minute micro review. Spacing is small doses, not extra hours. Let's zoom out and connect the dots. Your brain isn't a hard drive. You can't drag and drop knowledge and expect it to stick. It's more like a muscle. Stress it, let it recover, stress it again. Cramming is one 10-hour workout, then never again. Spacing is smart, sustainable training. It feels harder because it works better. That friction is the feature. Stop confusing the smooth feeling of rereading with real learning. Use forgetting on purpose. To anchor this, here's a quick, practical play you can run today. The 15-minute set it and forget it setup. Pick one target, a class unit, a certification topic, or a work playbook. Create 10 atomic prompts, flashcards, questions, or problems. Schedule 2 reviews right now, one in 24 to 48 hours, one in 7 to 10 days. Put them on your calendar. In each review, retrieve first, mark what you miss, restudy only misses for 3 to 5 minutes. If both reviews feel easy, extend the next gap. If they're rough, tighten it. Real-world snapshots. Sales Pro: turn top 50 client facts into cards. 10 minutes each morning keeps them fresh for months. Nurse: build cards for med dosages and protocols. Weekly refresh blocks prevent rusty recall in critical moments. Developer: weekly spaced API recall session. Write method signatures from memory, then verify. Small reps, big confidence. Before we close, a quick FAQ speed round. What if I need to memorize a ton fast? Use short-term massed practice to prime, then pivot to spacing immediately. The massed reps help today. Spacing protects tomorrow. How many items per day? Enough to keep the session under 15 minutes. Consistency beats volume. A calendar plus a simple list works. Write dates next to items and check them off. The magic is the timing, not the software. Here's your challenge for this week. Choose one thing you need to learn: class, work, or personal. Create 10 atomic prompts today. Schedule 2 reviews now, one 1 to 2 days from today, and a second about a week from now. After the second review, decide. Extend the gap if it felt easy, shorten if it didn't. What are you going to master with spaced repetition? Drop your plan in the comments. Making it public makes it real. And your playbook might help someone finally ditch the cramming cycle. If this episode upgraded your brain, share it with a friend or a coworker. Tell us which cognitive quirks or learning myths you want next. And if you're building a spaced system, come back in a month and report your results. We'll pin our favorites. Until next time, keep your brain hungry and your learning spaced.